Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Dan the Happy Idiot, and today we're going to be taking apart a Mossberg M4 4-power rifle scope. The M4 was introduced in 1938. This is the first variation, which has this part unscrews. I'll show you later. And it has a screw adjustable objective. The M4A, which is here, is basically the same. Has the adjustable objective. The crosshair assembly doesn't come off. You have to undo this screw and everything comes out of there. The lens assembly will come out of there through the ocular lens assembly. Okay, and then after that they made the B, which is very similar, has a different objective adjustment. You loosen that screw and you slide this back and forth for your parallax adjustment. The adjusters are very similar to the earlier style. This B actually has, it's a rangefinder type of thing. It's marked in 25. It's marked in yardage on here, and it's actually pretty neat. I see this on the M4s and the M4As. Okay, and this is the B, and then that was followed by the C, which is all intent and purposes identical to the B, and then that brings us to the D. The D is very similar to the B and C series. The turrets are a little different. The adjuster for the parallax is the same as on the B, C, and D. They're very similar in style, and the lens assemblies and all of that. These two use different style of mounting the lens assembly in here than the B, C, and D does. The M4 was introduced in 1938. The M4A was introduced in 1939. The M4B was introduced after the World War II in 1946. The M4C was introduced in 1949. The M4D was introduced in 1952 and was used up until 1965. They're all, like I said, they're all basically very similar. They're very similar. They have different ways of doing the same things, but the whole taking them apart is basically the same, other than the B, C, and D, and I'll shoot another video on how to get these apart. Okay, so we're going to tear the M4A apart today, and we're going to start with the ocular lens assembly, and it unscrews. And we're going to basically leave the crosshairs alone. So we'll take our little knife, get our brass insert, our brass lens retainer, loosen it up. Loosen the retainer up till it comes out. Comes off, and then flip it over. Grab my t-shirt that I use to clean every lens. Clean the lens off. That's clean. Put it back in here. Now I'm using the tip of the knife to go up against the edge of the lens, so just to get it to lay flat. Put the lens retainer back in. And snug it up with my knife. Now I use my knife here because there's no notch or anything to take this apart. So basically it digs into the brass to grab a hold of the retainer, and then I'll unscrew it. And when I get done, I'll probably just touch that up with a magic marker. Okay, so I'll take this lens, set it over here on my metal thing, and I'm gonna get the lens assembly out now. On the M4, this part unscrews, the crosshair screws. I'm not gonna take the crosshairs out and get into that. I will when I get into the C and D. This lens assembly slides out, and this lens assembly like this is specific to the M4 and M4A. The B, C, and D are very different in the way that they retain the lenses in there. Okay, so there's the one lens and the orifice thing. And I just set them up like that so they stay in the proper orientation for when I go to put it back together. Because if you get these if you get these mixed up or flipped over into the wrong way, you can basically take a good scope and make it worthless, because it was designed one way and it'll only work one way. So you want to go to the extra trouble to keep things in the correct orientation. Some scopes it doesn't matter. Other scopes it does matter. Play it safe and act like it does matter on all scopes, and you won't have a problem. Okay, and the last lens. Taking and cleaning it off real good with my rag. And it goes on this way. And the lens retainer screws back on. Snug that up real good. Set it over here. Okay, now we have to pull the objective lens out, which is a little bit more involved, and I'll show you once I get it out how it works. Okay, so there's the objective lens. When you turn this, I don't know if this is a new camera and it's not as good as my other one. This thing has a spiral groove on it, but when you turn it, the groove locks in with this little notch right here and slides the lens back and forth. Okay, that's how this lens goes back and forth, and that's how you adjust the parallax on this particular scope. So we're going to pull this lens out, give her a cleaning. Put my knife in there just to hold the retainer. Grab the lens, and like I keep telling you, keep everything in the correct orientation. And when you first get into this, don't think, oh, this is easy, I'm just gonna go ahead, pull this apart, clean it up, and it's gonna be hunky-dory, because it's not always hunky-dory. You may have to tear one scope apart more than once because of dirt, because of a cat hair or something. Cat hairs there's a lot of cat hair around this house, put it that way. And now I'm just screwing the lens retainer back in, and it's good. And before you put this in, this little notch, little hook right there, that's what slides it up and down. Lots of times over the years it'll get compressed in to where it doesn't grab that. So I always try to take it and pull it out a little bit. I don't know if you can see it. And there's a notch or an opening in the scope tube right there that it slides into. So basically right now I'm just pushing the thing that slides up and down, and it's working fine. Okay, so now we just take this, put this back in, put that lens assembly in, this screws on, and this had a scratch on it, so I'm just going to line that scratch back up. Grab the other lens, which somehow got knocked over. Clean that up real good. Screw it back in. What I usually do is turn it backwards till it clicks. Then you know that the threads are usually lined up. Okay, and so that's how you clean the M4, the first version of the M4, which is the M4. This one's on the number 2 mount. I'll take it to the range, sight it in, and it'll be honky-dory. Alright, thanks for tuning in. I'm Dan the Happy Idiot, and have a great day.